You make decent money, maybe even really good money, but somehow every month you're left wondering where it all went. Sound familiar? Here's the brutal truth. The average American household spent over $78,000 on consumer expenses in a single year, while wages only grew about 3.8% during the same period. Spending is outpacing earning, and a huge chunk of that gap isn't inflation. It's money being quietly, systematically drained by things that used to make financial sense, but absolutely do not anymore in 2026. I've spent years breaking down where people's money actually goes, and what I keep finding is that the financially stuck millennial isn't bad with money, they're just still playing by rules that expired years ago. So here's what we're doing today. I'm walking you through 12 specific things you need to stop spending money on right now. Some of these will feel obvious. Others are going to genuinely surprise you. And the last one, stick around for the last one, because it's the one that nobody talks about, and it might be the single most expensive habit you have. Let's get into it. Number 1, food delivery apps. Let me be direct with you. Every time you open DoorDash or Uber Eats, you are voluntarily paying an 80 to 90% markup on food. Not an exaggeration. Platforms charge restaurants commission fees between 15 and 30% per order. Restaurants don't eat that cost. They pass it straight to you through inflated menu prices. Meal that sits at $12 at the actual restaurant regularly hits $22 or more through the app, before the delivery fee, service fee, and driver tip. Studies show delivery app menu prices run roughly 25% higher than dining in. If you're ordering twice a week, you're throwing away over $1,500 a year just for the convenience of not driving 10 minutes. The occasional emergency order? Fine. The weekly habit? That's a wealth transfer from your bank account to shareholders. Speaking of habits that quietly bleed you dry, let's talk about what you're driving. Number 2. Brand new cars. The moment you leave the dealership lot, a new car drops roughly 20% in value. On the average new car price today, sitting close to $48,000. That's nearly $10,000 gone before you reach the first red light. By the end of year 1, you've lost 25 to 30% of that vehicle's value. And if you financed most of it, congratulations, you now owe more than the car is worth. Meanwhile, the average monthly payment on a new car loan hit $738 recently. That's nearly $9,000 a year before insurance or gas. The smartest move? Buy a reliable 5-year-old car. It's already absorbed the brutal depreciation hit. It still runs great. And you can often sell it a few years later for close to what you paid. Studies of millionaire behavior consistently show they drive Toyotas and Hondas. Not because they can't afford more, because they understand cars are transportation, not trophies. Now let's go somewhere that's been price gouging you in plain sight. Number 3, sit-down restaurant meals as a weekly habit. Restaurant prices are up 35% since 2019. Basic burger at a casual spot now runs $16 to $22. Add a drink, maybe an appetizer, and a single person can easily spend $35 to $40 before the tip. A couple going out for dinner with drinks? Easily $120. That same meal cost half that 5 years ago. And here's the kicker. The portions got smaller, not bigger. Drinks are where restaurants make their real money, by the way. That $14 cocktail contains about $2 worth of ingredients. A soda costs the restaurant roughly 15 cents. You're essentially subsidizing their profit margins every time you order a round. Going out for celebrations? Absolutely worth it. Making it a weekly ritual? That's burning thousands of dollars a year for an experience that has genuinely gotten worse, not better. Which brings us to the screen in your living room. Number 4, streaming service stacking. Remember when cutting cable felt like the smart financial move? Netflix for $8 a month and you were set. That era is completely dead. If you currently subscribe to the major platforms Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, HBO Max, Amazon, Apple TV, Peacock, Paramount, you're spending over $100 a month. That's $200 a year, more than most people used to pay for cable. And the fragmentation is intentional. Every platform locks away the content you actually want so you can't cancel. The average household now subscribes to 4.5 streaming services. Here's the fix. Rotate. Subscribe to one service, binge what you want, cancel. Move to the next one. You still watch everything. You just pay $15 a month instead of $75. Streaming only makes sense when you refuse to play the game they built. Number 5, fast food. I know what you're thinking. Fast food is cheap. Except it's not anymore. A Big Mac meal in most cities now costs $12 to $15. Chipotle is pushing $15. Even Taco Bell, historically the budget option, is charging $10 to $12 for a basic meal. Fast food prices have jumped 55% since 2019. The original value proposition was cheap and convenient. When you strip away the cheap, you're left with just convenient, unhealthy food at premium prices. For $15, you can cook a genuinely nutritious meal at home in 20 minutes. Regular fast food customers are spending $3,000 to to $5,000 annually. Let that number sink in. Still with me? Good, because this is exactly where most people start nodding along and then go back to their old habits. The next few points are where the real money is hiding. Number 6. Buying the latest generation tech every single cycle. The new flagship iPhone costs around $1,200. You know what it does that your current phone doesn't? Takes photos that are maybe 3% sharper. That's it. The real-world performance difference between a phone from 2 or 3 years ago and the current model is almost undetectable for average use. Yet millions of people upgrade every 2 years like clockwork. Buy refurbished. Buy one generation behind. A refurbished model from 2 years ago costs half the price and does everything you actually need. Someone who upgrades every 2 years is burning around $600 annually on depreciation alone. Over a full career, that compounds into tens of thousands of dollars. Number 7. Expensive weddings funded by debt. Average American wedding cost is now around $35,000. That's $35,000 for one day. And research from Emory University found that couples spending $50,000 or more on weddings are 46% more likely to divorce than couples who spend under $10,000. Now, correlation isn't necessarily causation, but the pattern is hard to ignore. The wedding industry is masterful at emotional pricing. The word wedding literally doubles or triples the cost of everything. Photographers, flowers, venues, the label alone inflates the price. If you can fund that celebration entirely from savings without touching retirement accounts or emergency funds, spend whatever makes you happy. But financing your wedding on credit cards while delaying homeownership, you're trading your future for a party. Number 8. Buy now, pay later financing on everyday purchases. Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay. These platforms have made it easy to finance basically anything. A $200 appliance becomes 4 payments of $50 and suddenly feels harmless. That's exactly the psychological trap. Research shows buy now, pay later users consistently spend 10 to 40% more than they would paying upfront. Your brain reacts to $50 differently than $200, even though the total is identical. Nearly 40% of users have missed at least one payment. Late fees accumulate. The interest-free offer quietly becomes expensive debt. If you genuinely cannot pay cash for it today, you cannot afford it today. Number 9. Branded products when generics are identical. A name-brand detergent runs $13. The store brand, sometimes made in the same factory, costs $7. Consumer Reports testing consistently shows store brands match or beat name brands across most product categories. Generic ibuprofen contains the exact same active ingredient at the same dosage as Advil. The premium you're paying on branded goods funds marketing campaigns, not product quality. Switching to store brands across your household spending can save you $1,500 to $2,500 every single year. Number 10. Subscription boxes. Makeup boxes, snack boxes, book boxes, clothing boxes. The subscription box industry is worth $32 billion and growing. The dopamine hit of opening a surprise package is real, but the math is brutal. A typical box runs $25 to $50 monthly. The products inside are worth less than that at retail. That's how the company makes its profit. You're paying above retail price for random items someone else chose, many of which you don't actually want or need. And canceling is deliberately complicated because inertia is how these businesses survive. If you want specific products, just buy them directly. It's cheaper every single time. Number 11, premium daily coffee drinks. And now for the one that's going to hurt. That daily $7 Starbucks drink costs you $2,190 a year. Making quality coffee at home costs roughly 50 cents a cup, meaning you'd spend about $180 a year for the same caffeine. That's a difference of over $2,000 annually. Now here's where it gets genuinely staggering. If you invested that $2,000 difference every single year at an 8% average return over 30 years, you'd have approximately $245,000, $250,000 from coffee. I'm not saying you can never enjoy a coffee shop. I'm saying most people have never actually sat down and calculated what the habit costs over a lifetime. The habit formed before the math happened. And that's true for almost everything on this list. Which brings me to number 12, the most important thing of all, and the real reason most millennials feel financially stuck despite earning decent money. It's not any single purchase. It's unconscious spending, the slow, steady, unconsidered drift of money toward whatever is most convenient, most marketed, and most psychologically engineered to extract it from you. Every item on this list shares the same DNA. They exploit convenience, status anxiety, emotional triggers, and the assumption that you're not paying attention, because most people aren't. The companies behind these products have invested billions of dollars studying exactly how to make spending feel effortless and invisible. Your only real defense is running the actual numbers, not vague guilt, real math. What does this habit cost annually? What would that money become if redirected toward investments instead? That calculation changes everything. You don't need to eliminate every enjoyable expense from your life. You need to make conscious decisions instead of default ones. So here's my question for you. Which of these 12 mistakes have you been making without realizing it? Drop your answer in the comments right now. I genuinely read them, and the conversations down there are always worth joining. If this video gave you something real to think about, subscribing means you'll get this same level of practical, no-nonsense financial thinking every single week. Not generic advice, but the specific stuff that actually moves the needle for people in your exact situation. And if you want to keep building momentum right now, check out the video on screen. It covers the specific money habits that actually separate people who feel financially stuck from people who quietly build serious wealth. I'll see you there. Your money should work harder than you do. Let's make that happen.